Hi, this is Dr. JeM. You're about to listen to my MeWe Enlightening Talk. I will be introduced by Lorelei Shimayo.
I'll be finishing up in a bit, and we're going to transition now to Dr. JeM Shows with Decoding Microbes for Seekers, Healers, and Mystics.
Thank you, Lorelei. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Awesome. We can see your screen too.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Welcome, everyone, and thank you, Cara. It was fascinating. I was getting absorbed too, but she'll be back. And I'm Dr. JeM. I'm going to talk about decoding microbes for seekers, healers, and mystics. I wanted to let you know that I'll be answering questions at the end. So let me show myself first. I'm a PhD microbiologist who used microbes to clean up toxic waste from rivers. While I was doing this wonderful work, I also connected with Native American elders and learned about animal spirit guides. So I'm going to be going back and forth with my screen because I have some lovely visuals to show you while I speak. So I've combined my scientific knowledge of microbiology, that's me in the lab, with my connection with animal spirit guides. And what I did was I've created a way to communicate with animal spirit guides that are living all around us. They're in a layer of reality, though, that I call, and that is referred to as the microscopic world. Okay, so a little more about showing you those later, but at first I wanted to answer what animal spirit guides are. So in the past, our ancestors relied on signals from nature, as you all know, to guide their choices in life. They used the stars to navigate. We still do that. We learn about them ourselves. They learned about themselves. They had dialogues with the plants and the trees. And they observed the animals around them, learning from them and being guided by how these animals survived, using their unique body types and abilities to eat, ward off predators, and survive through the changes in the season. The animal spirit guides that I want to talk to you about today are called microbes, and I want to tell you what I mean when I say microbes. Basically, microbes are living creatures that are too small for humans to see without the use of a microscope. But like larger animals, these microbes have unique body types, they have unique abilities to eat, and ways to ward off predators and ingenious survival skills under the harshest conditions. Like the larger animals that taught our ancestors back then and are still teaching us now, these microbes have powerful lessons to teach us too. Our ancestors didn't have microscopes, of course, but they still sensed the presence of elementals, fairies, and nature spirits. So they were aware that tiny somethings were making their spiritual presence known in the forces of nature. And they knew that these tiny things were responsible for keeping their gardens fresh and their water pure. Since microbes are not visible to these ancients, a closer relationship with these microbes has been closed off to mystics, seekers, and healers until now. As an intuitive microbiologist, I can open the portals of communication to these microbes so you can develop relationships with them. And by doing this, you can receive messages, receive wise guidance, and some answers to questions that might be on your mind. When I say microbes, most people think of disease. And of course, there is one microbe that we're all thinking about today, the virus that causes COVID-19. However, there are trillions of microbes busy on our planet and in our bodies, keeping us clean, warding off disease, eating toxic waste, and recycling gases in our atmosphere to help grow the plants that keep us nourished. Trillions and trillions of microbes belonging to thousands of genera thrive with us on this planet. Because of microbes, important atmospheric gases are cycled from the air to the soil and plants and animals and back into the air again. So thousands of microbe types keep Mother Earth's body clean and her circulatory system pure. And all of these trillions of microbes have superpowers. These superpowers can help us live better lives in harmony with nature and with our bodies. Just because they're too small to see doesn't mean we can't taste, feel, smell, and touch their transformative presence in our lives. You know, when it rains and you can grab some mud from the ground and smell it. That after rain fragrance is created by a microbe. When we had the BP oil spill, never before seen spiral-shaped microbes swirled up from the deep to drink as much oil as they could, rescuing us from the effects of that environmental disaster. Microbes that make methane gas gave rise to hundreds of fantastic fables about will-o'-the-wisps dancing over the marshes where these methane microbes make their homes. There are microbes shaped like stars, microbes that came on meteorites to Earth, microbes that make bread rise. You all know who they are. They're the yeast. And there are microbes that ferment our food, yeast and bacteria. They keep our guts balanced and our skin clean. So microbes terraform the earth and us every day to create a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit for both us and the planet. So let me show you something again. Doing divination with the Microbe Whisperer Oracle Cards is basically an extension of how I did divination with the Jamie Sam's David Carson Animal Guide cards. These are my Oracle cards here. And these are the Jamie Sam's David Carson Animal Medicine Guide cards, which I'm sure you've all seen. Well, we can certainly relate to lessons from animals that we can see with our own eyes. That's what these cards cover. We get that how they use their wings or eyes or talons to live in their worlds. But to understand the microbes and the lessons that these spiritual guides have for us, we must first leave our human-sized existence and enter their microscopic world. So I want to invite you to do a short imaginative exercise with me. So imagine your tongue is tasting the fresh morning dew or the salty air as you stroll down a beautiful beach. Now imagine your entire body is as sensitive to taste as your tongue, and now you're thrown into a pure, fresh body of water. You can taste the environment engulfing you with your entire body. And if you're as small as a microbe, you'll be billowing about in the currents of water. This is when you'd whip out your flagella, which are like little tails. You whip these tails back and forth to propel yourself through the water. Your main goals will be to search for food, get nice and plump, and bud off a new clone of yourself as a sister cell. Your other goal is to keep predators away. You do this by making antibiotics to kill other bacteria. You also communicate with your sister cells about changes in your shared environment by using special types of pheromones. You exist as one in that watery environment, using your body to select what comes in and what goes out. Okay, we're going to come back to human size again. Thank you for doing that little exercise with me. What I showed you was just one example of the many varieties of microbes that exist in many different shapes and have many different ways of surviving. With the Microbe Whisperer cards, I can help you understand how to harness the wisdom of specific microbe guides that appear in your reading. The microbe guide that shows up in your cards can grant you insights on how they eliminate toxins and remove disease. There are skills that these skills can translate into your own lives to survive toxins. Whether your toxin be physical, emotional, or spiritual, they can provide guidance on how you can flourish in your own worlds. So basically, I can teach you how to become a microbe whisperer too. I created 44 paintings of microbes that are good for the environment. Since I know them so intimately with my readings, I can tune into thousands of other microbe types using these 44 representatives from the world of microbes. My relationship with these microbe guides can help answer questions of the heart, the body, the mind, and help you to conduct your creative flow. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with all of you. The suits for the 44 Microbe Whisperer cards correspond with the suits you know from the tarot deck. But for the symbols I use in my suits, these are the tools that microbiologists use in their lab to whisper to these microbe guides. So I'm going to take you through the 11 cards in my 44 card suit, just to show you what I mean about the suits and how they correspond to tarot deck. So I have the first suit here. This is the inoculating loop suit. Well, what's an inoculating loop? It's just a rod with a wire. It's a metal rod with a wire that you heat up with a Bunsen burner to flame it. Looks like a wand. So this loop suit corresponds to the wand suit in tarot. Then the next suit is the microfuge suit. Now we have little test tubes that we use to concentrate solutions of bacteria. And since it contains solution, this is called a tubes suit that corresponds to the cups in tarot. And then I have the petri dish suit. Well, that corresponds to pentacles in tarot. Why? Because petri dishes are used to hold agar and contain nutrients for bacteria to grow. So they're a source of abundance for the bacteria. Now we have the fourth suit, which is the Pasteur pipette suit. Well, what's a Pasteur pipette? The Pasteur pipette is a long tapered glass rod with a little bulb at the end, and we use that to transfer small liquids. And so this corresponds to the swords suit in tarot. What I want to do now is take you to a little tour of 4 representatives of the 4 suits that I just mentioned. This first one I'm showing you is a star bacteria. So star bacteria are shaped like 6-pointed stars. This is the shape that's used by many spiritual faiths in the history of our world. This also includes a symbol we use in paganism, with the symbol of the feminine divine power being a triangle pointing down, and the symbol for the masculine divine being the triangle pointing up to form the 6-pointed star. How would this microbe that evolved millions of years ago know that this would be a symbol used in human spirituality? Well, it's a very cool mystery, and it's one of the lessons that's taught by this microbe animal guide. And the lesson is that the natural world contains wisdom for humanity, wisdom acquired in mysterious ways. So because I have both the genus and species as well as a regular name for these bacteria, I encourage my querients, people that come to get readings, to use a nickname. So for now, I'm going to use the nickname Stella to keep talking about this star bacterium. So in the environment, Stella lives on tiny amounts of food, which is why they have these appendages that protrude from their bodies, making them star-shaped. Because they're so good at cleaning up minuscule amounts of organic waste, these star bacteria are considered to be a good indicator of a healthy coral reef environment. Stella doesn't have a tail, so it can't move around the way I showed you those earlier, those bacteria were moving around with their flagella. How does it move? Well, it uses internal pockets of gas like balloons. So they use these gas pockets, fill them with air to make them buoyant, so they can move up and down the water column to look for food. Well, if I were doing a reading with you and we got this card, one of the lessons that it would teach you is to become the symbol of spirituality worldwide, be the star of a clean environment, know how to thrive on very little, and find inventive ways to float to the top. There are more spiritual lessons that the star bacterium teaches, and those are available in my guidebook that comes with the cards. But now I want to move on to another representative in my suit, and this one is going to be the oil-eating bacterium that I mentioned before. This oil-eating bacterium, its scientific name is long, it's Oceanospirillum, but you kind of get it because ocean came from the ocean, and spirillum, it's spiral shape. These are the ones that we discovered lived at the bottom of the ocean depths. They came spiraling up when we had that BP oil spill in April 2010. When we had that oil spill, that sudden burst of all this available food that these microbes like to eat, they smelled the plume and came spiraling up to eat all that oil spilled in the Gulf of Mexico. So we discovered this genus, Oceanospirillum. It loves to eat petroleum oil. And so they're like heroic first responders. They spiraled up from the deep to devour that oil that was killing so much marine life. What are the lessons of Oceanospirillum? Well, they teach that someone else's poison is just lunch for you. They teach the lessons of being the heroic rescuer. And they also teach that you should dive very deep in your subconscious to deal with emotional toxins. So I'm going to move on to the representative for my Petri dish suit. Whoops, let's go back a little. There we go. So this one is called, this is a scented brain bacteria. And these microbes are responsible for that wonderful just after it rained fragrance that you can smell in the soil after it rains. They create mycelia like fungi do. They're 10 times smaller than fungi. They make these beautiful mycelial mats that look like rich plush carpets, and they're colorful. They use these mats to feed on organic compounds on the surfaces that they spread out on. They can also degrade chitin, which is a material that composes the exoskeletons of insects. So they're responsible for helping us not drown in many, many dead insect bodies over time. Most bacteria can't eat the chitin, so they're helpful that way. And they also use their feeding powers to eat toxic waste. Plus, they make antibiotics. So what are the lessons of this centibrain bacterium, also called Streptomyces? Well, they signal to you the cleansing joy of rain. They suggest that you elongate and branch out to grow. They tell you to spread out to take full advantage of your habitat. And they help you become distinctive in fragrance and replication, or find that in anything in your environment that you want to learn about a little better. So the fourth representative of my 4-suit oracle deck are the methane producing bacteria. These microbes die in the presence of oxygen. So they have to find places that don't have oxygen, like the termite gut, special compartments in cows, and swamps. They make methane gas out of carbon dioxide and hydrogen, so they hold the promise of an alternate fuel source using methane gas. In the old days, when folks passed a swamp in the night, they'd see eerie flashes of blue light over the water. And this gave rise to many legends about will-o'-the-wisps, which were thought to be cursed or playful spirits. All microbes change our planet biochemically, and some do cause disease, unfortunately. But it is amazing that such a tiny creature, and one that doesn't cause disease, can influence our human history by giving rise to the tales our human imaginations have conjured, which are inspired by these tiny muses. Okay, well, what would the lessons of methanogens be? Well, one of them is that your life is a gas with a blast. One puff of a secret creates a million stories. Remember that all waste has a purpose, and make sure that your abode or home is airtight. So I have 40 other microbes that are in my oracle card deck, and as a microbe whisperer, I can interpret the guidance that they have for your specific questions. Besides the microbe animal guide cards, I've also created unique layouts for divination. You can choose the layout that you want depending on the question. The layouts represent the traditional alchemical elements. So, for example, for Earth, we have the geocycle layout, which is a triangle pointing down. And then for water, I have the hydrocycle layout, which is shaped like a waterfall. And I have a fire cycle layout, shaped like a flame. And I have an air cycle layout, which is shaped like a rainbow. So for example, if you have questions that are affecting your heart or emotions, you choose the water cycle. Something that affects your body or your environment, you want to choose the geocycle layout. Something that is preoccupying your mind, or a question regarding the use of your analytical side, the air cycle layout. And the fire cycle layout is for those things that represent fire, like passion and creativity. I'm going to now take you to a page that shows you how to get in touch with me. Besides offering the book and the cards, I have some other products that I offer, and you can read about them on my website. These are the readings. There's a Who's Your Microbe for 10 minutes for $10, a 3-card reading for past, present, future, or 1 card for each issue. I also give full readings using the layouts that I just described. I think Lorelai's putting that information in the chat, but you can also look at it here. You can go to my website to sign up and purchase the readings. You can also go here for the guidebook and card purchase. Now, what I'm also going to do is take you, I hope I can do this. Let's see, I have to stop sharing first, I think. And then I'm going to reshare, because what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about the website. Let's see, can you see that?
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay, so this is my website. And so to purchase the divination service, you're going to click that button. But before I take you there, I was going to tell you the other service I offer is shamanic journeying. I can talk to you more privately about what a shamanic journey is in case you don't know, but I do offer shamanic journeys to help a loved one pass over, and also shamanic journey to help you meet power animals and spirit guides, or meet someone's heart spirit in the middle world. I have facilitated shamanic journeying with drumming before. I'm happy to share that now. And I also am a registered patent agent, so I do offer patent consultations if you're creating a new type of PPE, for example, to protect from the COVID-19 virus or treatment. I do offer affordable patent consults. I create rituals for environmental healing. Those are custom made. And I also offer consultation on bioremediation, water quality, enrichment cultures, and composting. And I do offer lectures on microbe whispering for the classroom or workplace. And I do what those lectures can either be educational or about divination or both. So if you click this button, the other thing I wanted to show you, I hope it comes up. Oh, there we go. Okay, this is my shop. And so you can select your options for divination here. So here are the options I was talking about. And I also wanted to point out that right now, Microbe Whisperer is donating 2% of any purchase from this website to fund COVID-19 vaccine development or the purchase of protective equipment for medical healthcare providers. So that is what I had to offer and say. I look forward to hearing your questions either here or at the breakout room. So I'm going to stop sharing. Hi. Hello.
Great. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, and you've got a few more minutes too, if you want to stay here for, you've got about 6 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have.
And feel free, you can ask any general questions about spirit animals or any of those kinds of things. And you're getting some thank you and appreciation in the chat.
Yeah, no, thank you for following that. I know that it's a new way of looking at animal spirit guides, so I really appreciate all the attention you gave me for presenting this.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. It was fascinating to see how you created the cards and the patterns of all the different things. I didn't realize all that was in there.
Well, there are also haikus and blessings. I was going to say, when somebody comes to a reading, I have the different chimes for the different elements. So I play, for example, the earth element when I do the earth blessing, and I play the water element chime when I do the water blessing. And that's a good way to prepare. I know I had a video to have everyone do that exercise to go into the microbe world. And it's important to be able to get into that mindset, that microscopic world mindset, to talk to these animal guides.
Let's see, so you've got some questions, and people are appreciating your concept, very cool concept. So how did you find your way to a particular type of divination? I'm not quite sure exactly what they're saying, but.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I think I know. So when I was doing my work at Cornell, cleaning up toxic waste from the Hudson River. It's a very difficult environment to be in when you're an intuitive like I am, and when you're an indigenous woman like I am. So I sought out some spiritual support and found spiritual support with some wonderful groups of people who were bringing shamanic Lakota elders to their land. And at that point, I was already dreaming animal guides. I was dreaming some unusual animal guides, like Archaeopteryx from, you know, the ancient past. They're extinct. So I did have questions. I mean, here I was doing all this science in a very westernized patriarchal way, and yet I was getting call, like I call it the call of the spirit, to look at this more deeply. So I started working with the elders, and then later on I was doing animal guide readings at a friend's shop in Portland, Oregon. I did that for a long time using the Jamie Sams, David Carson animal guides. And then at some point about 7 years ago, I just said to myself, wow, nobody ever, I mean, people want to work with elementals and they want to work with nature spirits, but I know who they are. So when I was at rituals, mostly pagan rituals, that, you know, we were doing blessings for the land and water, and people would mention nature spirits and elementals, and I was going, well, yeah, Pseudomonas, Streptomyces, Corynebacterium. We need to know who they are. And it didn't occur to me until like 7 years ago that I could actually paint them. I didn't think I was an artist, but I turned out to be. So I started to paint them and realized, wow, these could be like a wonderful portal and way to communicate with microbes the way I did. I actually used to sing to my microbes at midnight when no one else was there, because nobody would understand, you know, to raise the energy of the earth and empower them to clean up the PCDs from the Hudson River like I wanted them to. Does that answer the question? I don't think I heard.
You do, and more comments coming in. Yes, singing to microbes.
Singing to microbes, yes. It's in my guidebook. I have a section in my guidebook. So I sell this 198-page guidebook on a CD. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's cheaper on Kindle. If you have a Kindle book, can I show that real quick, Lorelei?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go back here because I forgot about that. If you do have Kindle, you can actually buy the guidebook through Amazon. Let's see if it shows up here. So yeah, so that's my guidebook on a CD, and I even have it here. You can go to, sorry, I didn't hyperlink it, but you can go to Amazon Kindle and get the book for $11.99, so it's a little cheaper than how I offer it on the CD. I'm trying to find the link here. I don't quite see it. Oh, I'll find it. Anyway, I'm happy to field other questions while I'm doing this, if I still have time.
You do, and let's see, what can you advise us do or avoid or protect ourselves from COVID?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So, of course, being a microbe whisperer, I immediately went to my card deck and I spoke to the microbes. Now I'm actually navigating over to my, so I did 2 readings on the animal, on using my animal guide cards. And they're posted here. There isn't enough time for me to go into it, but I posted 2 blog posts. I think one was in February, one was in March, but there are 2. I'm trying to get to the page that shows them all. I definitely asked my microbes, hey, what do we do? Oh, here we go. Can you see that, Lorelei? Can everybody see that? So I did
Yes, we can.
I did a microbe animal guide reading on COVID-19 right away when unfortunately, we had our first death in the US that was reported was in Washington State, where we live. So I needed to get on that. That felt definitely like a call from the spirit. So I did an animal guide reading here, and then I did a part 2, and I also created a coronavirus planetary purge, which is in the second posting, and that was inspired by the microbe guides that work in the soil. So definitely they're in the nitrogen cycle, so definitely go to that. The videos at the end, I believe, yes. Meditation to cleanse the lungs of our planet. You know, obviously, in terms of medical information, I can't give that here, but I, definitely would direct you to the appropriate people who can advise you on that. But I'm talking about, besides working with the medical health experts on helping protect yourself, you also can work with the spirits of the animals, just like our ancestors did, working with the spirits of the plants and the nature spirits and elementals. We can work with the microbes. They're here to protect us. They've been here a lot longer than we have on this planet, and they definitely know how to teach us how to purge and cleanse ourselves, whether it's our body or our planet. So definitely read those blog posts, and please ask me any questions you have once you read them, or even before. Happy to answer. I'm going to stop sharing now. I never got to go to the Kindle website, but you can check it out later. All right.
Yeah, that's great. And anyone else can reach out to Dr. JeM with more questions or to get that link afterwards.